Hi friends, I am back today with another review, and today I'm going to be talking about another figure in the Crimson Dynamo line. We'll be looking at the Yelena Belova figure from the upcoming Black Widow movie that's about to come out, hopefully. So I'm going to get right into it because this figure is interesting. I have a lot of things to say about it. So first of all, one of the things that I talked about in my last video with Bucky was how impressed I was with the facial sculpt and paint. That holds true for this figure as well. And I was thinking as I was looking at these figures about when, before the most recent line of Star Wars Black Series toys came out, they did an archive sort of interim between the two lines that were going to come out, and everything changed for me as far as a Star Wars fan and a collector. I had no interest in the old ones because the faces looked so bad. They were like mashed potato faces, and all of a sudden everything was clean, crisp, beautiful. It's like the technology finally came along and everything started to look amazing, and now I can't get enough of those figures. Well, that's what I feel like is happening now with our Marvel Legends, and this is the first line that I'm seeing it fully fleshed out the way that I hoped to, and it's really successful for me. It is a little bit puzzling that both lines are made by Hasbro, and we're just now sort of seeing these Marvel Legends figures get to the level that the Black Series figures got to when they released last year, but what can you say? They're all on the level now, so it's really exciting to see what's going to be coming forth from them. So without any further ado, let's take a look at this character. Yelena in the movie that's coming up, so this is the MCU version of her, will be played by actress Florence Pugh, and if you know her, she was in Midsommar. And knowing that, when you look at her face, you can see how amazing this sculpt is. It really captures every detail of her face, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love the braided hair. It really makes sense for an assassin. It's nice to see some practical elements to this character. A lot of times I think with the female figures, we don't see that practical element. It's like flowing hair, even with a couple of the Black Widow figures that came out recently, the comic book ones, I know that that's how her hair was. I'm just saying, it's nice to see something that's a little bit more practical for an assassin. Her armor and body, so her whole body is covered in armor, and her vest is the soft vinyl. Everything else is painted with this really cool, like, matte finish paint that gives it a really neat effect. So it really is like sort of like snow armor, like snow camo kind of. It's really cool. Her belt is not attached, so this is like a loop around her waist, and it is attached to her hip holsters so that when you move her legs, the belt will raise and lower so that you can get a full range of motion, which I really appreciate because I've talked about in the past how it bothers me when accessories hinder the range of motion on a character. So it's kind of difficult because everything is white to see, but she's got knee pads on her armor here, and these are white boots that are calf height. And she's got her Widow's Bite wristbands, her black fingerless gloves, and then back to her vest again. So I really like, I have her posed this way because I wanted to show how perfectly her weapons are molded to her hand. So there was no trouble putting the weapons in her hand, putting them in their holster. Let's see, I just lost focus real quick, sorry. Putting them in her holster and putting her hand on the weapon with her finger on the trigger in the holster. So that's really nice because sometimes I find that I'm sort of forcing the weapon into the hand. You have to like wrench the fingers back and like cram it in there, and they're sort of like, it's gripped together, but it doesn't fit the hand. These are made perfectly. So I love the weapons. She has another set of fist hands. I like having her posed like this so that she's making use of both weapons though. And those are the only accessories that she came with because she came with the torso for the Crimson Dynamo, and it is massive with many little components to it. So there isn't a lot of extra plastic coming along with this character. But as I tested it out, let me put her guns down and we'll look at the points of articulation. The first one, starting at the top, her head is very has a great range of motion in the front. It's very smooth. You can turn it in every direction because she doesn't have that hair. There's nothing holding her back from nodding completely. So I really love that. She's got, you know, her shoulders only go to a T. I kind of would have liked to see them go all the way up for a number of reasons, but like, I mean, when you do it this way, it works too. It just, I don't know. It's just like a little bit, it's just a preference that I have for that joint to go all the way through. So let's see, elbows and hands, just spin around. So those are great. She's got the range in her torso right here. It's not as far as the Bucky one was. And I think that might have something to do with her chest, quite frankly. It might be difficult, I don't know, but really it doesn't hold, it turns, but it doesn't hold front to back. So that's a little bit frustrating. She doesn't turn in the waist, which is weird. Like, it's weird for her to turn here and not here. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just a design choice because of her vest. I don't know. But her legs go all the way out. The holsters do hinder that a little bit, but not too much. Obviously, because of the way the holsters are strapped to her belt, you can't really turn the legs all the way. But you can get a pretty good movement there. Her knees are good. They go all the way up the way that they should. And her feet move just in the feet and don't do that weird boot turn thing that I was talking about last time. So the boots don't turn at the calf. They just work at the ankle. So overall, everything about this figure works for me. The way that they've changed the female body, I wanted to compare. I was going to compare with Blink here. If you look at her legs, how they fit perfectly into the torso, whereas this is what we were seeing before with that big gap. If you look at the tiny waist on Blink here and the freakishly tiny arms, just the little additional bulk. Now she's clothed, she's not, but there is a little bit of heft overall in this character, a sturdier build that I prefer. So I think they've come a long way with the design by making little tweaks to the women's bodies. And I hate to say this, and I don't want it to be perceived in a particular way because I like this figure, but even as I like it, it's hard to find much to talk about with it. It's a little bit boring. And unfortunately, I kind of find that with a lot of the female superhero characters, even the ones that I love. I don't know what it is about the figures, but they just don't seem to be made in as a dynamic way as the male superheroes. And I think that's sort of what happened here with Yelena. I think she's kind of a victim of the fact that, like, for whatever reason, although the sum of the parts is beautiful, she looks gorgeous, it's just not a very exciting figure for me. That said, it is executed beautifully. The paintwork is beautiful. The color scheme is beautiful. I love the matte on her suit. I love her face. I cannot get enough of looking at her because it's like looking at Florence Pugh, which I really appreciate. And I love the little tweaks and changes that they made to give her a more realistic looking body. I think that great steps are being made with these figures, but it seems like there's still a little bit to be desired as far as the female action figures go. And this one too. While she's perfect, everything works the way that it should for the most part, it's just not as exciting to me as Bucky was, and that's just how I feel about it. So let me know what you guys think. If you've collected this figure, I am looking forward to putting her on my shelf. I also picked up a second one to do a custom with, so that's coming up. I'll share with you on social media what I do with that. And let me know what you guys think. Are you going to put her on your shelf? Are you seeking this figure? I noticed there were a lot on the shelves recently when I went to Target. Is this something that you feel like you have to have? Why or why not? And how do you feel about the changes that are coming in the Marvel Legends line as far as the body structure, the paintwork, the sculpts? I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are. I have another figure coming up the day after tomorrow, which is Monday, and we're getting right through this Crimson Dynamo. So thanks so much for watching my video, you guys. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this figure in particular and the changes across Marvel Legends board. And I will be back with another video the day after tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.